welcome back to another video. Today's video is February in books, I guess. It's another monthly wrap-up. I was supposed to post one last month, but the audio got distorted, hence this different mic I'm testing. I actually had this before I had the other one. Anyways, let's get into it. So, February, relatively good month, I would say. I read 6 books, so out of those 6 books, 1 was physical, I would say 3 were audio, and 2 of those were digital. My average star rating was a 3.69, and honestly, if you look at the graphs, which I will post here, it's very consistent. I think it's like pretty much, I didn't rate anything below a 3.25. Again, the genres consist of romance and contemporary, mostly fiction. There was a nonfiction book in there. And then my pace and page number, again, very consistent, very average. Okay, let's get into the actual books now. So, I started off the month finishing an audiobook I started in January. So, I was listening to The Paradise Problem at the end of January, and I didn't finish it until February 4th, so a couple days in. I ended up rating it a 3.5. So, this is a book about the female main character who ends up marrying a friend's brother for the sake of living situation in college. They want to live in the marriage dorms, and it's the only way for them to do it, of course. She ends up marrying him. They depart from each other post-graduation. They don't really encounter each other. And then he comes back because in his inheritance, he has to stay within a marriage for 5 years for it to fully come to him. And so he comes back and asks her to continue this ploy. They didn't get divorced. So they continue this ploy, and she ends up joining him at his sister's wedding, which is in an island. I don't remember where. But yeah, so basically the paradise. I think the reason I rated it at 3.5, it wasn't that it was, I don't exactly know. I'm going to be honest, I don't remember how I felt about it. I don't think I necessarily enjoyed it. I listened to it on audio, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad book, but it wasn't great. A marriage of convenience hasn't always been my favorite trope. There's always your forced proximity, you fall in love, and there's always tension in that. I don't know what it was that I didn't particularly enjoy. So I guess that goes to show why I rated it so low. I don't even remember my thoughts and emotions about this book. And then I ended up reading Business Casual by B.K. Borson. This is the 4th series in the Love Light Farm series, and I read the first 3, I think it wasn't last year, I think it was 2 years ago. And they were good. I liked the series. I liked it enough to continue reading it with I think this is her newest one. And I honestly enjoyed the characters. I think the male main character, I thought he was so heartwarming. He was like giving boy next door, and I actually really liked it. Their relationship with each other, their comfort in each other. Basically, this is about Nova. She's kind of more independent, even if she's grown up in a rather large family, and is always wanting to do things, constantly trying to fulfill. She's always just on the go. And then she kind of has this attraction to Charlie. She thinks that being with him for one night will kind of get him out of his system, but he's kind of persistent, and he kind of just wants to be with her. And so they kind of develop this business casual relationship. I liked it. I rated it 3.75 though, so it wasn't a 4-star. If you're looking for a fun, casual read, jokes, pun, sorry, that was bad. If you're looking for a fun read, I think this series is good. There is, of course, spiciness. I feel like a lot of these books have spice in it. But out of all the couples in the series, I think this one may be my favorite. One of my favorites so far. So yeah. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay, and next up I listened to From Here to the Great Unknown by Lisa Marie Presley and Riley Keough. I listened to this on audio because Julia Roberts and Riley Keough narrate the audiobook, so I just thought it would give a different perspective than just physically reading it. And this is basically a memoir of Lisa Marie Presley, which she started before she passed and didn't ultimately finish because of course she passed. However, Riley Keough, her daughter, took what Lisa started and all of her stories that she knew from her childhood and from obviously having Lisa as a mom, and her own experience, and essentially created From Here to the Great Unknown. And I don't like to rate memoirs out of the respect for the person and everything that they go through. You can rate and criticize the style of writing, probably, and how the formatting, but I don't know if I can necessarily rate the story because it is someone's life. And I can say it was sad. I'm not particularly interested in the Presleys. I've never been a fan like that. I know, obviously, Elvis. I'm from Vegas. How can you not know Elvis? But I've never really cared to know about him or his history or his children specifically. And when Lisa was alive, I think I was just too young to care about that specific group of celebrities. I saw that this book was available, so this is why I chose it as an audiobook. But it was really insane to hear how grief and the overwhelming need to be loved held so strongly in Lisa Marie's life. And despite not choosing to be in the spotlight, you still have to deal with the repercussions of being in the spotlight. Seeing the repercussions of her family being in the spotlight, Elvis, and the people she loved, her partners, and it was insane. And I know they add audio clips from Lisa Marie's actual, I'm assuming from when she actually talks about some of the stuff. So if you want to listen to her or read her memoir, I definitely recommend listening to the audio because you get a bit more personal insight with those audio clips in between. Yeah, those were my thoughts about that. Okay, and then I physically read, funny story, this is the only book I read physically, and I think it's because it's the only book I had that was physical that I wanted to read, that I picked up. And I've been postponing this since it came out. I got it, I pre-ordered it, and I even have, audio, signed Clabe. But I just don't know, I just didn't feel like picking it up until this month. I'm a big Emily Henry fan, not just because we share our namesakes, but I don't know, I just like her style of writing. I rated that a 4.25. It wasn't my favorite of hers. I don't remember what I rated her other books, but I liked it. I liked the dynamic. I think it was an interesting setup, of course, a little bit different. This story is about the two main characters end up having to live together because of both their ex-fiancés, who were best friends, end up leaving them for each other, if that makes sense. So they end up having to roommate together because it's the only way for them to be able to afford staying where they are. And being roommates, they end up developing a friendship, and then they end up having to pretend to be in a relationship to show that our exes that I guess that they've moved on in a way. So fake relationship trope. I think it was fun. It was nice. I think the characters, I don't know why I rated it 4.25 exactly, but I don't think it was my favorite of hers. I just think of course I enjoy all her books. I don't know, maybe the setup isn't what I'm normally used to. It's not a plot I would normally gravitate towards, but it was good. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, the next book is Unravel Me by Taheret Mafi. I totally mispronounced her name, and I'm so sorry. This is the second book in the Shatter Me series. I don't remember what I rated the first one. And I think I finished the first one sometime at the end of last year. I'm not 100% sure. So I went in not exactly fully remembering everything that happened until I started reading into it, where it kind of came back to me. I rated this a 3.25. I don't know. Julia is kind of insufferable. So I don't know if I want to keep reading. I do, but I don't. I don't know. There's just something about her, and I want to root for her and Adam. But I don't know. I don't think I do. I think I'm rooting for her and Warner, which maybe they end up together. I don't know who she ends up with. If you've read the series before, don't tell me. I'll figure it out eventually. But I don't know if I just want her to end up with anyone, because she kind of pissed me off. So, yeah, that's why I rated it 3.25. It's not a bad book. I like the plot of this one. There's definitely more action, and you find out a secret that I didn't see coming. But, I don't know. We'll see how things unravel. I forgot how it ended, so I know I left kind of in a cliffhanger. And the last book I actually listened to on audiobook was the Something Borrowed in the Darcy and Rachel series. I actually watched the movie a long time ago. I think I've only seen it a couple times. And when you think about it, the premise is a little like, girl, what you doing sleeping with your best friend's man? But yeah, so this book, if you guys haven't seen the movie or read the book, is about Rachel, who is a lawyer, and she's always been really good. She's never really done anything bad. She always just thinks a lot about the people that she's with, her friends, her family, she just always wants to please everyone. And on her 30th birthday, she ends up sleeping with her best friend's fiance. And Darcy, who is her best friend, is not the best person. She kind of comes to learn how lines can get so blurry so fast. And as the description says, endings aren't always neat, and you have to risk all to win true happiness. So, I don't know. I guess the book definitely gave more in-depth, more insight on the characters themselves. And you can see Darcy's selfishness so much more in the books than you do in the movies. It's kind of the only thing that kind of, how do I say it, excuses Rachel and Dex is the fiance, by the way, actions. But I don't know. I mean, it's just, as like a person who would never agree with cheating, it's kind of rough, because the way that it was set up, you just have to know what's going on. And I don't want to spoil anything if you haven't already seen or read the movie or read the book. But there's just so many complexities to the relationships and to real life, and you can't, even if you plan to be perfect and you plan a life and you act a certain way, life doesn't work like that. So yeah, I ended up rating it a 3.5. Pretty good. Just, again, not my style of book. I don't know if I want to read the second one, because I read the summary and Darcy gets a redemption, and I don't know if she deserves one. Anyways, that was my February reads. I'm hoping to find some more higher rated books in March. But again, I will be studying. I am working, so I'm just going to enjoy the vibes. I'm also filming a reading vlog soon, so keep an eye out for that. I'll see you on the next one.